Nick Northcott from a few different places. So Chrysalis Advisory.
Yeah.
We're a full-service advisory business for health medical research sector, life sciences sector. Udomon Technologies, which is a scale-up medtech. We're about 10 years, $15 million capital in the sexual reproductive health space.
Okay.
And also chairman of Enisol, which is a leading global medical device, quality assurance, testing equipment manufacturer.
Oh, cool. Excellent. So, yeah, definitely wearing a few hats. And I see the Chrysalis booth over there and good presence here at ARCS and supporting BioBeacon as well.
Yeah, it's really important to support the early stage space, and something we're really passionate about. It's really hard to start a company and found a company and get it through the valleys of death that keep going forever and ever.
Yeah.
So, we want to really support that journey.
Yeah, excellent. And for those that don't know Chrysalis, is that the kind of work that Chrysalis does that's supporting?
Yeah, we basically play in 4 markets, right? So academia, medical research institutes. So I used to run one of those, so I understand that world, how it works. Mm-hmm. The early stage companies and assets that come out of predominantly those worlds.
Yep.
The health system as well. So how do you actually translate those assets into the health system and make sure that you can have an evidence-based healthcare system? And then the capital markets and the funders. How do you actually make all this stuff work? How do we do deals that get us to where we want to get to?
All the hard bits. But and so you're like we said, representing in a few different parts, playing in a few different areas. You've got the Chrysalis stuff, but also tell me a little bit more about the organisation that's taking part in BioBeacon itself.
So 10 years ago, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation turned around and said, we've got this huge global problem, 1 million sexually transmitted infections per day, it's disgusting, increasingly antimicrobially resistant too, so gonorrhea that doesn't go away, that kind of thing. And over 120 million unplanned pregnancies. So it's about a $60 billion global burden of disease. So the only way to actually stop that right now is via a condom. Problem is, people don't want to use a condom, right? It's a disruption to the experience. Doesn't feel as good, and that's the key point, right? It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So the challenge was, can you create a condom that feels better? And so Professor Robert Gorkin, who was working in 3D printed biomaterials at the University of Wollongong, is looking at this stuff, going, maybe I can make a condom out of this. And so, fast forward a few years, and there's a Gates grant of, $100,000 and then $1 million, and just early stage kind of lab work done. And then Robert, Simon Cook, and myself co-founded Udomon Tech. We signed the IP out of the universities of Gates, and Udomon Tech was founded. So we've been on this whirlwind journey to create the next generation hydrogel condom, which is, if I maybe just give you a quick lesson in condoms.
Sure, please do. Yeah.
It's basically 3 types of condoms. So there's latex, natural rubber latex, which is rubber, right? So it's got all the things that put you off: smell, taste, the touch of it. It's a raincoat, right? It's a smelly raincoat.
Smelly raincoat, yeah.
And then you've got synthetic latex, which is polyisoprene, right? So it's like the soft one.
Okay.
And then you've got polyurethane, which is a plastic.
Yeah.
So it feels thinner, but it, there's reasons why it's not as good.
Yeah.
So we've created basically what's a hydrophilic material that has water inside it, so it's inherently lubricious. So you can kind of almost like feel through the material. It's entirely clear, has no allergies. It's a completely different kind of feeling material. So the idea is that we create something entirely new, disrupt a market that has not been disrupted for 70 plus years, and use advanced manufacturing techniques and digital QMS and all the cool tech that you think about to create a disruptive proposition.
Yeah. So does that fit in the category of, what is that, medical device? Is it consumables? What's the...
It's absolutely a medical device. So it's a class 2 medical device.
Interesting.
Because if you think about why did condoms come about, you're trying to stop a biological pathogen, e.g. HIV or AIDS, from infecting somebody.
Sure.
So you've got to make sure that you've got this thing that you're supposed to make feel like nothing, actually stop a pathogen getting through.
Well, the bar's pretty high too. Like if it fails or if something doesn't go to plan. So like I imagine then that, the reliance on the technology, a lot of people, just expect that these things work, and there's a lot of kind of trust in that process. So I can understand why the process would be quite a long one to make sure the thing kind of works. So
yeah, and so you've got to do pilot clinical trials, you've got to do pivotal clinical trials. There's huge manufacturing. There's 27 billion condoms produced a year.
That's a lot of fun.
Exactly. So you've got to have a really high yield. You've got to have really high quality. You've got to have really stringent ISO standard.
Yeah.
So a lot of manufacturing technology and capability to actually be able to produce at scale consistent condoms that feel like nothing, but don't let pathogens through.
Yeah.
Really difficult technical challenge.
And what stage is it at right now?
Yeah, so we're 10 years from idea to today.
Yeah.
We literally had database lock on our pilot clinical trial this week. So that's a massive milestone. So, kudos to the team.
Well done.
And what that means for us is that we're now at this inflection point of value where we have proven that we can consistently make the product. We've got really strong signal that there's preference around the product. So how do we take it from, the thousands we can make a year to millions and ultimately billions of products? So scaling advanced manufacturing, running a pivotal study, which is basically 300 plus couples having sex against a predicate device.
I was going to ask. I've been very mature through this whole conversation, so you can take it wherever you like. But what is that? Yeah, I was going to ask, what's that clinical trial look like? But you can be as descriptive as you want.
Well, actually, so we started off with handling studies, so like touching the material. We've done that in Australia and overseas and Asia and different markets. How do people respond to that? We've also done neuro studies, so like EEG, MEG. Where we look at the neurological response that people have when they touch these materials. So there is a different response. So you touch rubber, a balloon is a balloon is a balloon, and you have I know what this is, and inherently that's not very enhancing to the experience. Whereas you touch our materials, there is a novelty response in the brain. Now, can't make the scientific claim that that's anything more than a novelty response at this point, but you could, over time, potentially get to the point where, there's some link to arousal, pleasure, and maybe that's why that's linked to that kind of preference. So we kind of did that kind of handling study, neuro work, biofeedback work. We also did what we called protocol optimization studies, which is a nice, polite way of saying an individual utilizing the unit, and then sex studies, which is a couple, utilizing the product to make sure it actually works.
Utilizing the product, nice feeling. But and you're here at ARCS. And you're it's part of BioBeacon, and there's a lot of different organizations and representatives from across the industry, across the pharma side, the regulatory. What are you hoping to get out of the participation in BioBeacon?
I think from a Udomon Tech perspective, it's about being part of the ecosystem. It's about, popping our head up now. We've been reasonably quiet about what we've been doing. So communicating, here's where we've come to, getting a bit of feedback about what do people think about where we're at and what the next stages might be. And probably letting the world know that we're here.
Yeah. And what are the next stages then? And what can we expect to see? And when we'll just start seeing this in the hands and whatever else of people? Yeah.
So the next stages are to fund the journey.
Yeah.
So, obviously scaling manufacturing of that size is, we hear about our lovely Prime Minister's Made in Australia policy. Well, we need to manufacture at scale. So we need to build that scale manufacturing. Run the pivotal study, get regulatory approval, and get into market.
Yeah.
So there's a funding element to that. There's also a conversation about partnering around that. Obviously, it's a huge global market, pretty consolidated as well. So we're looking at that right now. And after that, it's probably within 3 years we're on market selling and global market launch and trying to take as big a chunk out of that, 27 billion units as we can.